Hello and welcome to Production Assistant 101. I am your co-host, Elliot Campos. I'm a Student Services Advisor here at the Recording Radio Film Connection.
And I'm also your co-host, Tommy Lee Kirby. I'm the Administrative Director here at Film Connection.
Thanks for watching, guys. We're going to be answering some questions that our students have submitted, and hopefully there should be some kind of interaction on here where you can submit your own questions, and if we see them pop up, we'll definitely attend to them. Basically, we have questions. We're going to be kind of going through the ins and outs of being a production assistant. And the first question, to deal with that directly, is from George in Atlanta. What exactly does a production assistant do?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Well, thank you, George from Atlanta. So production assistant is, there's a lot. It really depends on how large the production is. It depends on how demanding the directors are, how demanding the assistant director is. You could be moving stuff around. You could be acting as a stand-in for one of the actors. There's just so much that goes on. You could think of the production assistant as sort of the, not to disparage the position, but it's sort of bottom of the line. Everything that the assistant director doesn't have time for, the script supervisor might not have time for. If the catering shows up late, coffee, just sort of intern related things, and also a lot of fun things like, if the boom mic guy doesn't show up, it's kind of like holding the boom mic. There's just so many things that the PA could be responsible for. Yeah, you got to be ready for anything, and if an opportunity happens, you got to be like on your toes. Like, yep, I'll do it. Totally. Exactly. Just don't be looking for those opportunities when you're on that set. You might be told to, just watch a door or something. But while you're there, if there's somebody nearby that you can have that you can network with, you can use that opportunity. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, sky's the limit, really. Although for the most part, like what you're doing is very basic stuff. Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, you're doing whatever the assistant director needs you to do, whatever the director needs you to do. So our second question is from Megan in Illinois. How should I dress? Comfortably. I would say the first thing you need to do is talk to the person who hired you and ask where you're shooting. Because if you're inside on a hot day, probably t-shirt, jeans, maybe shorts. But if you're like shooting overnight outside in the middle of winter, like you're gonna want to dress. You're gonna bundle up, or else you're gonna be miserable. I would say, in your experience, I mean, does it matter? Like I would say, like if it's your first time, like dress kind of professionally, but like if you know everybody, they know you well, then you can be a little more casual. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would argue against that. Mainly just, I don't think it's necessary to show up on set dressed too nicely. You don't want to show up in khakis and a shirt because the thing with working on set as a PA, you're probably going to get dirty. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts. A lot of people are going to yell at you to get out of the way, respectfully, of course. So not always. Not always. And you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready for that. So I would literally just, I mean, if you're really concerned about what to wear, I would contact, whoever hired you. I would contact them and ask them. But for the most part, you want to dress comfortably. You want to, of course, dress for the season. But keep in mind, you're going to be moving around a lot. So it's important that, absolutely do not dress up in a suit or a tie. Honestly, I think you could get away with the modern entertainment industry showing up in blue jeans and a nice t-shirt if you really wanted to dress to impress. I mean, I would say in terms of like a style of clothing, like think almost like construction. Like if you're like doing some kind of house project at home, like putting up, you're working on the roof of your house, like you'll just wear like not clothes you love, right, but just clothes that are practical. Right. Like nobody's going to be expecting you to like be a runway model here. Right. But yeah, whatever you don't mind getting dirty and possibly stained. Yeah.
So our next question is from Jasmine in Seattle. What are the mistakes that production assistants typically make?
Not knowing their place is a huge mistake. Trying to get into things that they don't need to be in. You know, it's really important to just follow direction while you're on set. And one thing is if things get pretty crazy when the camera's rolling, things get pretty crazy even when the camera's not rolling. So it's just very important to understand your role, understand your expectations, and also sort of thinking on your feet when even those expectations aren't directed. Because sometimes PAs are expected to figure it out on their own.
Yeah, I would say exactly what Tom said. Know your place, but you know, don't whine, don't complain. Like, you're creating an impression of you, like when you go on this PA job, and if you do a good job, who hires it? Is it the first AD, second AD?
It could be. It depends on how large the production is.
Okay.
It could be, yeah. For most feature films, large budget, it's probably going to be the second AD.
Okay.
But you'll have an independent film. It could be anybody. It could be the director. It could be one of the producers. It could be anybody.
Okay. Well, whichever person it is, they're going to. If you mess up, if you do bad things, if you whine, complain, you're miserable the entire time, miserable to be around, rather, then that person isn't going to hire you for another job. You know, the ideal method of being a production assistant is to go do a good job, and then the person who hired you will be like, okay, great, I need to put this person's name down, and the next time I need to staff a shoot, I need to call him or her, like, right away.
And just to expand on that, it's very important to maintain a positive attitude no matter what, because you could be asked to leave the set in the middle of the production, because there are plenty of PAs to go around. There are plenty of people who would love that PA job, and so they have a roster that they can choose from.
Yeah, I mean, if a movie star is throwing a hissy fit or something, they'll work double time to calm that star down, because they've already shot all this footage, so they can't recast at this point. But in terms of production assistant, it's like they kind of grow on trees, like everybody wants access to the film world. So if you get your chance on a set and you don't reward the people who brought you there, they're not going to cut you any slack. It's right. Just, all right, you're gone and bye forever.
Yeah. And just to also, as a side note, it's not to devalue the position of production assistant, because it's a very important position, and it is a position. It's not a pipe dream to make it big through being a production assistant, but you have to practice humility. You have to know your place when you're on set.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories of people who got opportunities, not just as production assistants, but as writers, directors, or actors, like people who get big time Hollywood opportunities, and they just blow it completely, whether it's, showing up intoxicated, or, treating people with disrespect, or just what Tommy was referring to earlier, like not knowing their place, and if you want to build a reputation that's positive in the industry, you got to be working on that from day one. It's not like, oh, once I make it, that's when I can be like a cool person to be around. Like, you have to be that cool person on day one.
Absolutely.
So the next question, also from Jasmine, are there more than one production assistant in one department? That's yes. Generally, that depends on the budget. So if you have a very small budget, there's probably only a handful of people there. But like bigger shoots, I mean, the main thing is like every day is a different look. Not necessarily, but you have different locations, different kinds of shoots that you're doing for the film, and those require different numbers of people. So, I mean, some days maybe it's like, just a bedroom set, so I only need like a couple people. Other days it'll be like, exterior in front of a bank, and you need like 30 production assistants. So, I mean, kind of varies. What's your experience? Have you been
pretty much everything you just said.
Okay, nailed it.
Yeah.
Next question. This is Carl from Los Angeles. Is being a production assistant important to me when I want to be a screenwriter?
Yes and no. If you want to be a screenwriter, it's not required that you become a PA. You can definitely just keep writing. But being a PA can help you become a screenwriter, or not become. It can help you with screenwriting. It can definitely build your network. The thing about being a production assistant is that's how you get on set. And when you're able to be a part of that, when you're able to be a part of the production itself, if you're able to see the importance of the close-up and the importance of the extreme wide shot, if you're able to see the location, what it looks like, it's easier for you to sit down as a writer and visualize what's happening on set and how it's the logistical aspects of what's going on. Because when you're writing as a screenwriter, you have to, a lot of people forget about this, you have to keep in mind the budget. So if the production facility, if you think that this is going to sell with a big budget production, and you want to do an explosion that's going to cost $65,000, being on set can sort of give you that idea of what that's going to look like, and you'll be able to describe it. Does that make?
Yeah, I completely agree. I do a lot of writing myself, and once I started spending more time on sets and actually seeing how every decision the screenwriter makes is shown on set, whether it's, the characters in a scene or it's like the locations. Like, just to give an example, like if you mentioned the budget, like how much money do I want to spend on this aspect? Like, I would write a script and I would have a wedding at the top, and then I would think about it. Well, in terms of how expensive a wedding is with the location, the wardrobe, the characters, like a wedding to depict that on film is tremendous. Or you can shoot like a bachelor party in some guy's basement, and that's like more casual dress. And by making that change and like tweaking the story a little bit, you're saving like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And if you're not impacting the story at all, that's what you got to do, because you don't want to spend all your money on this elaborate wedding up front when the important stuff is the moon monsters that invade in Act 2.
Right. Bottom line is, yes, being a production assistant can help your screenwriting career, but it's not important. It's not required. So the word important is the key. It's not required, but it will definitely expose you to what it's like for the cast and crew to live on set, and what it is like, just what that whole process is like. There are a lot of screenwriters who have never been on set and are shocked at how the process works when they get their script sold.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing about it is that, like, once you write that script, you need people to read it. So a great way to network with people who are in the industry is by being on set. I've been to a lot of speakers, professionals in the industry, and there are so many people who are like, yeah, when I was on set, like, I made good friends with, this department head who, took a look at my script and kind of, boosted me to the next level. Or, I had this office job, and, one of the producers there really took a shine to me and kind of helped me get further in my career. So it's like, you never know where those people or opportunities are going to come from. And if your choice is like, well, I can, do all these PA jobs, or I can work at this convenience store, probably like the production assistant jobs are more likely to lead to something than stocking shelves somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So the next question is from Mike in Florida. He's never been a production assistant before and wants to know, what does he need to know before he starts?
Not a lot. Really, the as far as material knowledge, you're okay. What you really need to know is just knowing yourself, really, without sounding cliche. Are you able to immerse yourself in an unpredictable working environment where the demands could be high, the demands could be moderate, they could be low. The main thing is, just knowing what things are, I guess, would be a good material knowledge. There's if if you know what a C-47 is on a film set, knowing what a light looks like. So when they ask for C-47s or they ask for specific things, you'll know where to go for that. But again, not that important as long as you know how to ask, for help. I would do some background information, some easy Google searches on the basics of production assistant. But in the end, you could walk onto a film set having a basic sense of film production 101 and be okay, as long as you've got a can-do attitude. You're on top, like you're always on, and you're just like, okay, that's it. What's next? What do we do now?
Yeah, I mean, just open yourself up. Be ready, willing, eager. It's okay if you don't know everything, but you need to have the attitude of, I want to learn everything. The next question is from Jeff in Michigan. How much will a production assistant get paid?
Really depends on a lot. I've never gotten paid.
This was a while ago, but I did, it was a weekend, Saturday, Sunday. It was 12 hours on both days. And so that's like 24 hours over the course of 2 days, and I got paid $100. Nice. So that's less than like $5 an hour.
Yeah. It really
and that's like, I got $100, like in terms of production assistant jobs.
Yeah, it really depends. Most independent, well, when I say independent, there are independent films, and then there are films that are like festival films that will probably never see the light of day. It really depends. If you're on a big feature film, I would imagine that there's a market rate for production assistants. But for the most part, you're either going to get paid a flat rate of, like Elliot said, $100 for 2 days, or you're probably not going to get paid anything. But you will have a credit, or you'll have something to put on your resume.
Experience.
You'll have experience. And the most valuable thing that is offered to production assistants is when you get your first production assistant job, whether you're paid or not, the most valuable thing is the network that you're going to start building. So it's very important to be sociable, be personable, and really start talking to people who are on set.
Yeah, think of the money as a bonus. Most of the time it's not going to be there. Like if you get it, great, go buy yourself a nice shirt or something. But, for the most part, it's the experience that you're getting paid in. So our next question is from Khalid in Philadelphia. Is it okay to take pictures with the talent? No. Do not be a fanboy or a fangirl. There are a couple of reasons for this. One, the talent, they're working, like it's their job. They've probably been, rehearsing their lines. They've been working out to stay in shape. They've been learning all the blocking. Like they've been doing all this stuff so they can be focused on what they're doing. And literally every single person they meet is going to have that freak out moment of like, oh my God, I love you. Can I hug you? Can I take a picture? Like, da, da, da. They get that everywhere they go, all the time, constantly. So if you're at work, like this production, it's your work, it's your job. So you need to be professional. You can say hello, I guess, if they like walk by you. But I mean, there have been stories where there have been, movie stars who have like, if a production assistant looks them in the eye, they're like off the set. That's probably like the high people.
That's a pretty extreme.
I've never experienced that, but generally it's like, who do you want to be at the end of the day? Like, do you want to be just this like slobbering fan, or do you want to be like a professional in the industry? I mean, if you go to a Steven Spielberg set, like Spielberg isn't fawning himself over Shailene Woodley or whoever hot new star it is. He greets her as, hi, hello, I'm Steven. Be respectful. What I've had in my experience is that I've been respectful, and I've actually had like cool conversations with some really famous people just by treating them as a person instead of some idol.
Right. The important thing here is to realize that you are at work. and professionalism is key. The extreme example, there are actors out there that do that, but they are rare. For the most part, just be there to work. Again, this goes back to knowing your place. If you see Arnold Schwarzenegger, or if you see, I don't know why my mind is going blank. I can't think of a single actor right now. If you see Ryan Reynolds, if you see Paul Rudd, give the nod. It's okay to smile and nod. You could even say hello. It's like, hey, what's going on, Mr. Rudd? Something like that. But as far as taking pictures, absolutely not. Be patient for the wrap party, because that's when all the pictures will be taken, and they are expecting that at that moment, because the suit is off, the work is over, it's time to relax. And I have many friends. I've actually never been to a wrap party, but I have many friends who have been to wrap parties, and I see their pictures on Facebook and Instagram, and they've got pictures with John Hamm and all this stuff, because they're at a wrap party.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to delay production so you can get a selfie.
Exactly.
Definitely like appropriate time and place, but you don't want to be that person, for sure. So this is from Addison in Oregon. What lingo will I need to know on my first day? I think we kind of covered that already. You don't need to know that much.
Not a lot.
Were there any specific terms that you would recommend?
It would be impressive if you knew what a C-47 is, and it's literally just a clothespin.
Okay.
They're used for anything and everything. They're almost as important as duct tape, but they're typically used to hang up gels on lights. They're all kinds. Okay. There's like a laundry list.
I mean, you should know, like most of the terms on a film set, like quiet on set, you can figure that out. Yeah. Like rolling, that's a wrap. Like stuff like that.
I think everyone knows cut.
Yeah, cut. We got it. Like once they're rolling, be quiet, and then once they say cut, you can do other things again. Yeah. Next question. This is Madison from Virginia. What should I do if I'm not busy?
Well, there's an old saying in the restaurant when I used to wait tables: if you've got time to lean, you've got time to clean. I would basically, if you're not busy, find a way to get busy. Volunteer your services. See if there's anybody else that needs help. If anything, there's so much that's going on.
Yeah, always look busy. Never be on your phone. Like never be on your butt, like on the floor, like daydreaming. Like be on your feet. Be attentive. There's going to be a lot of downtime. One of the biggest phrases in the film industry is hurry up and wait, which means that, for every activity there is, there's about 3 times that in just complete inactivity. Right. So, be prepared. There's going to be downtime. Maybe, start storyboarding your movie in your head, or, just be on guard so that if a producer walks up to you and has a task for it, you can jump right into it.
Also keep in mind, if you're in a feature film, a big budget feature film, it makes a lot of people really nervous if you are on your phone, and you will probably be excused.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who want to do it. If you're not going to give it your full attention, you don't need to be there. Next one is from Brett in Phoenix, Arizona. How do I impress as a PA?
Just always be on. Be willing to do anything and everything within reason. Practice humility.
Yeah, I mean, just be very eager when the second AD or whoever walks up and says, "Hey, who will do this? Raise your hand. Like, do it. Like, whatever it is." Whatever task you have, like the more things you do, the more valuable you are to the production. Ergo, the better off you'll be in the long run. This is from Lucas in New Orleans. Is being a production assistant an opportunity to network?
Yes, absolutely. I think we covered that before.
Yeah, everybody on the set could, be your new best friend or the person who helps you to the new level, take you to the new level. So treat every single person with respect. Like, don't make any judgments on people. Just be kind, be positive, and good things.
Yeah, and on that same note, also be very careful with the word network. It's very important. Just go and have a good time and make friends. That's it. You don't want to network for the sake of networking. You don't want to schmooze. You don't want to just build contacts for the sake of building contacts. You want to literally go out there and make friends, genuine friendships, genuine contacts, because the thing that I've realized and learned is that Hollywood is a very social industry, and they love helping each other out, believe it or not. And there's this unspoken rule in Hollywood that if you do someone a favor, they will also do you a favor. So very important that the connections and the friendships you make while as a PA or on any level, if you're a feature director, or if you're an actor even, be friendly, be sociable, genuine friendships. You'll be more successful.
That's a very good point. I mean, going off that, when you network, don't worry about just jamming your business card down their throat, or giving them the link to your short film or the PDF of your script. Like, most of the time, people are just gonna disregard that completely. Like, they're not gonna care. But if you just strike up a conversation, be friendly, create that relationship, down the road, something might happen. But don't see it as this guy might option my script. It's more like, this guy can be an ally, however that might turn out.
Yep.
Even if it's just on a personal level. Now, the next question is from Cameron in Massachusetts. How do I get PA gigs?
How do I get PA gigs? Well, there's Craigslist. There's a lot of PA gigs on there. There are all sorts of forums. And you would be surprised. It depends on where you are. If you're in Hollywood, throw a rock, because I'm sure that you already know someone that you don't realize knows someone that can get you a solid PA gig.
Yeah, I mean, reach out to your contacts. I would say there are a lot of good websites like entertainmentcareers.net that you can just go, see what's available, apply. We have a great job placement service here at the Recording Radio Film Connection. But look, don't expect everything to be handed to you on a silver platter. Like, bang on a few doors, like check in with your contacts every, 3 or 4 months, see if anything's going on.
And honestly, you'd be surprised. Post it on Facebook. As cheesy as that sounds, say, hey, I'm looking for a PA gig. Does anybody know anybody?
There's a lot of Facebook groups out there as well, local film productions. Definitely find out what's happening in your area in terms of film productions. And yeah, once you, we were talking earlier about networking, when you make a connection with somebody in the film industry and say you become Facebook friends with them. I have a lot of Facebook friends who, every week or every other week, I'll see a post like, hey, we're shooting a film, this weekend, we need 2 PAs. And, it's kind of like you can just throw your hat into the ring right there.
Exactly.
The next question is from Keith in Daytona Beach, Florida. Is there any PA etiquette that I should be aware of?
Yes.
Pretty much what we covered. Be respectful, be kind, be eager to learn. Don't close yourself to any opportunity.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, this is sort of a generational thing, and it's perfectly okay. But there are a lot of people who have ideas and sort of their own ways of doing things. If you're asked to contribute ideas, contribute ideas. If you're not asked to contribute ideas, just do what you're asked. If you think that a line in the script should be an extreme wide shot instead of a big close-up, keep that to yourself. Let the director pursue his decision.
Yeah, I mean, a director in particular has hundreds of people coming up to him every day, asking him a million questions. He doesn't need to deal with. I think people are really attracted to the idea of, you know, the rags to riches story. Like you can get that jump from a PA to a director in the course of a montage.
Right.
But basically, like that evolution does happen, but it's over years. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
This next one is from Dennis in Garland, Texas. Is there a difference between being a PA on a small budget compared to a feature film?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with a smaller budget, smaller crew, I mean, with that you have to do it really fast typically. So there isn't a lot of time for a lot of takes. Like it's pretty much like go in, get it done. So it's like a small number of people working really fast to get everything done. It's always like, you know, the permit only extends for this long. So it's like I feel like how it winds up is that with a large budget feature film, they have all these insurances and like allowances for like if there's an overrun, like we'll be fine. But for like a small budget thing, it's like that day is make or break. Like if they don't get the day, then they don't get that scene in the movie. So I would say like as a PA, you're kind of way more important on the small budget because your efforts have like a vital effect on the finished thing. When it comes to a big budget feature film, I mean, there's so many like mechanics in place and everything that, you know, it's that thing. If you are on your phone and being disrupted, they can get rid of you and pull someone new. That small budget feature film, it's like you're all they got.
For the most part, I mean, you're still replaceable. But and again, not to make it sound negative, you know, the biggest thing is, you know, I don't know if this is helpful, but this is a perfect example. You know, the differences between being a PA on a small budget compared to a feature film is if you're on a small budget film, chances are you're going to be working very closely with the director. So that's somebody that you want to make sure you have a genuine relationship with. Big budget feature film, you probably won't say 2 words to the director. You know, if anything, you'll get all your direction from the second AD. The director, again, is working with his close circle of team, and you won't be able to pick his brain or have a conversation with him.
I mean, it's really important to do a good job on both, but with the small budget, if, as Tommy was saying, you're going to be working with the director. If you can like establish that relationship and he wants to have you around, as that director advances, you can become a regular part of their crew.
Right.
And there's so many directors who, you know, blow up and move on to bigger things, and they bring their people with them.
And that's really the moment where you need to, again, this is an evolutionary process, not rags to riches, the montage example that Elliot gave. It's really important to shine your talents as that relationship with the director evolves, or anyone on set above the PA, because as your talents shine on, they'll know exactly what to use you for on the next shoot, and it might be something other than PA.
Absolutely. Next question. This is from Nikki in Chicago. What should I bring with me to set?
Well, you definitely want to bring yourself.
Don't forget that.
Probably some clothes.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you don't want to bring like a Game Boy or something. So I would say usually there's like, would you bring a backpack like with, you know, just like basic like
it really depends.
Water bottle, snack?
Yeah, it really depends on how long the shoot is and where you're at, what's accessible. Usually all of that stuff will be provided to you, hopefully. Is there going to be catering, you know, that sort of thing. There was one, I was both acting and PA on a small AFI film shoot, and it was from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I made sure to bring a pillow so that I could take a power nap whenever one was available, because I had my own trailer. But it was very demanding, and it helped to have reading material with me when there was some downtime. They're trying to figure some stuff out. So as far as what to bring with you, definitely, if you have allergies, bring some food that you're able to eat in case it's not available. If you definitely bring some reading material.
I mean, just leave most of it in your car. Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're going on a nature trail or something. So it's pretty much probably like the less stuff you bring, the better. But, it's always good to have like safety, if you need insulin, bring that.
Common sense.
Cover your needs. The next question is from Derek in Fort Lauderdale. How early should I arrive?
Well, you don't want to show up too early because you're just going to be wasting space. They have call times for specific things for specific reasons. A good rule of thumb is to always be 10 minutes early to what the call time is saying.
Yeah, I mean, what I would do is always leave like way in advance so there wasn't any issue, because you never know when you're gonna like drive into an accident or the scene of an accident, or there's gonna be some like road closure or something, and so you never want to be racing to get to the set on time. But by that same token, if you get there early, just hang out in your car. Maybe these reading materials that you brought in answer to the previous question, you can enjoy them while you wait for your time to get closer. Yeah, I mean, what time so is good? Like 10, like walk up 10 minutes, but it's good to get there like to not need that window. Just like, okay, I got here like 30 minutes early, and now I can just relax for 20 minutes and then dive in.
The key is don't show up on set early.
Yeah, don't be late either.
And don't be late.
Yeah, so like you have that exact time. So it looks like we have one question here. Are you going to, I don't see a name, sorry. Are you going to be required to drive your own car a lot to do errands, pick up stuff, or pick up people?
Usually that stuff will be communicated prior to the shoot.
Oh, that was from Marianne, by the way.
Okay, got it, Marianne. Usually that stuff will be communicated to you. Not always, sometimes. But it just really depends. But yeah, I mean, if that's required, it will be communicated with you prior to the shoot.
I've done that for sure. It's just kind of like what the needs of the production are. There are some postings for production assistant jobs that say like must have working car, because mainly what I experienced was I shot on a like a web video thing, a web pilot, and it was like over 2 days, but we shot at a bunch of different locations. So it would be like, all right, we're done here, now let's go to the next one. So you got to be able to follow them. Otherwise, have like maybe if you have a buddy who's doing, if you can set up a carpool kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it depends on the basic demands of the specific production.
Right.
The next question we have is from Jennifer in Coral Spring. What was your favorite production to assist?
Well, my favorite was the AFI one that I mentioned earlier, only because it just gave me full access to that Hollywood experience of being on set. It was fully legit. There were, every aspect of film. It was definitely a small budget. It was interesting because I don't get Star Trek, but Rufio's cousin was the guy who played Rufio on Hook.
Yeah.
His cousin was on there, so Rufio showed up. It was
kind
of crazy, but you just, you let that, you're professional, you let that slide. But I built some friendships through that shoot. The main thing of why I loved it so much was that it was really challenging. I served in the Air Force, and it was amazing how helpful my military training was to working on set, because it was literally 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I had to figure out a way to take a break, rest, and then go to my full-time job the next day at 9 a.m.
Yeah, if you're doing PA work steadily, expect to be tired a lot. But
Tommy mentioned, like find power naps where you can. You know, just expect to not be super energetic all the time, but there are many drinks available in the market to help combat that. For me, I think probably the best one I had was one of the student films I worked on, because it was all my friends who were making the movie, so it was really good, like camaraderie for everybody to be a part of, because you know, certain projects you're involved in, you don't have any passion about the material, but when it's something that, you know, it's coming from a personal place from, you know, one of your nearest friends, then it's that extra incentive. That was also like a learning experience for me, where I learned a lot about being a PA. And then the other favorites would be, I mean, most of mine, like you just kind of like, your brain kind of races past the 3 hours where you just kind of like watch this door to make sure nobody went through it. But I've had a lot of experiences where I get to talk to like, I've talked to like wrestlers and comedians, and, you know, and this is by not like running up to them and, oh, can I get a selfie with you? And, you know, hopping up and down, hugging them. It's more like, hey, how's it going? Those actors and wrestlers and comedians, they have downtime just like everyone else, and they get really bored too. So if you're standing nearby, they'll just be like, hey, what's going on? And, you know, strike up that conversation. They're not really going to remember it, you know, 20 years later, but for you, it's like a neat thing that happened, and you can tell your parents when they ask what you're doing in Los Angeles with all their money.
Right, exactly.
The next question is also from Jennifer in Coral Springs. What was your worst experience as a production assistant?
Well, it's, you know, thinking about bad experiences is interesting, because for me, you know, I'm truly alive when I'm on set. That's my place. On stage and on set is where I love to be. So even the bad experiences I really don't think of them as bad, because look at where I'm at, you know. But I would say I guess I could say an annoying experience while I was on set. Again, I got through it because I was just so excited to be on set. Was being a stand-in and just standing there doing nothing while they played with the lights around me, and they were measuring stuff and just doing all this. So I just had to stand there and do nothing. That was annoying. Again, it was exciting because I was standing in for Rufio's cousin, but at the same time, it was annoying.
Yeah, I mean, that's when your job is to actually like wait.
Right.
You know, I mean, when you go to a film set, it's like my concern would be like, you know, you get a little anxiety because I don't have anything to do. Is that okay? Like, all these people are moving around me and they all look like preoccupied and busy, but I don't have anything to do. Is that okay? And you just have to relax and be okay. Like, you're there, people know, like, you're there so that when you're needed, they don't have to like call somebody to fly in. It's like you're there ready to go. My worst experience was probably my first one, just because I didn't know what I was doing at all. So it's, you know, similar to you were saying, like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., like an all-night shoot. It's freezing cold in Chicago. We're in this like dank alley, and like after like an hour, the security guard comes down, and it's like we had a permit for one side of the alley but not the other. It's like the narrowest alley, and she's like, okay, well, she looks at her paperwork, okay, that's fine. You can point the camera this way, but not that way.
Right.
And yeah, I think for me on that set, it was just really hit home how, like, as a production assistant, it's not going to go by fast. It's like you're going to be working for hours, and then you still have the majority of it to shoot.
Right.
Like, every lengthy, prolonged camera setup is going to be for like 10 seconds of footage. Right. So what I learned after that, like when I go to a set to be a production assistant, it's that it's gonna take forever. It's gonna be slow. It's gonna be boring. And you just have to like accept that. You can't be like, I'm gonna have fun this time. And I mean, you do have fun in parts of it, but you have to be ready and prepared for, like, by the end of this, I'm just gonna want to pass out in bed, and that's okay.
Yep.
That's how everyone feels.
Pretty much.
The next question we have is from Ian in Pasadena. What if you end up operating a camera or doing makeup and you're still only credited as a PA?
Okay, so this sort of falls in the lines of communication. I don't know if you've experienced this. I haven't, but I can imagine that you know, if the expectation at the very beginning was you're going to be a PA, but then you come on and you sort of have this talent for cinematography, or they ask you if you have talent for makeup, and you do, and you use that, and you're still credited as a PA. To answer the what if, I would just communicate with them professionally and ask why you were credited as PA when you did other things. I know that has actually happened to me. I was actually an actor. I wasn't expected to be a PA, and I ended up, this is for a completely different production, but I ended up being, I actually helped build the set. I helped clean the props, and and I actually helped build it. I helped design it, but I was there to act, and albeit I was an extra. Then I was sent an email, and it basically said, "So we're crediting you as a PA." And it was like, okay, well, I was going to be an actor. Why am I not credited as acting? And why, And at the end of the day, it was just I did more for the production as a PA than I did as an actor, because I showed up for 2 seconds. So it was just better to have that experience as the PA, because it was just more of a legitimate experience. So really take a step back and really think, how much did you actually contribute? If you start off as a PA and then you did some camera work, but then you went back to being a PA, you're a PA. Same thing with makeup. But if you start off as a PA and then you did camera for the rest of the time you were there, then you should definitely communicate that and say, hey, I want to be credited as a cinematographer because that's what I did.
When you get into credit, that's a really complicated issue. If you look at a lot of major feature films, there are people who go to court like, hey, the director shot, half the movie with this cinematographer, and then they fired him, and then I was brought on the cinematographer and I reshot most of his stuff. But that first guy is still credited as cinematographer. And it's like, that's like above the line talent. That's like major people who are fighting over whose name goes on the poster or in the opening credits. It's like, when it comes to a production assistant, it's such an entry-level position that if you look at the end credits, it lists all the production assistants, but it doesn't have like little asterisks like, this production assistant also performed these duties and these. It's kind of like they're all lumped into one. If you, as Tommy was saying, like, if you become like the new major guy in that department and you absolutely deserve the credit, that's one thing. Talk with respect to the people and, see what you can make work. But if you're, hounding them for credit for, something you filled in for on a couple hours, then you're just being a problem.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just communication. Figure out how to communicate this respectfully, professionally, because 2 things would have happened. Is 1, there was a misunderstanding and it's fixed, easily fixed, or 2, they will provide a really simple, logical explanation of why it was. Like what I was on, I read their explanation and I was like, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, you still got the experience. You can still put that on your resume that you've been doing camera operating or makeup or what have you, and that's still something that's valuable to them, to the industry. In terms of like how it shows up on your IMDb, it's, one project. And you don't want to, die on the battlefield for one project instead of continuing to future ones. The next question we have is from Noah in Arkansas. How do I know who's who on set?
Well, The biggest thing is on a small scale production, it's pretty easy to tell who's who. If you know anything about film production, the guy who's working the camera, that's the camera guy. The guy who's working the light, that's your light crew. The people who are in front of the camera acting, those are your actors. But on larger scale productions, you really just need to know one who's who, and that's the person bossing you around. That's the person that's directing you. That's really the only person that you need to know. If they ask you, hey, take a water to Sylvester Stallone, you're going to know who Sylvester Stallone is. But if they say, hey, take a water to the director, it's okay to ask the whoever's giving that direction, it's okay to ask, hey, I just got here, or hey, this is my first day on set. Which one's the director? They really are understanding, and they won't yell at you until you figure out most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, when I was on set, I had no idea who anybody was, and you just have to assume that every person is somebody important. So don't treat anyone in a disrespectful manner. Just like what I've seen happen a lot is that producers will just be like hanging out on set, like standing around. Maybe they're on their phone, maybe they have their dogs who are being annoying or something. And when you speak to them, you probably won't know who they are, but just, hey, can you be quiet, please? We're, rolling a take right now. Just assume that every person is somebody important, and you'll be told who, like, your main contacts are, the people you need to be talking to directly.
Right.
And then we have another question from Josh in St. Louis. If you're working for free, is it okay to leave early?
Yes and no. If you ever want a job again, probably not a good idea. Legally, you can do whatever you want if somebody's not paying. If you are under no contractual obligation to them, absolutely, you can leave if you want. However, that if it's not time for you to go, if you're still needed on set, it's probably not going to go well in your favor for the future. If there's an emergency, just communicate that to anyone on set, the people who are directing you. But overall, even if you're working for free, you want to stay on that set for as long as you possibly can, period. Again, going back to the 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., I was there at 7 p.m., I left at 7 a.m. Because it was so important for me to absorb all of that experience and to make all of those connections.
Yeah, I mean, what I imagined the scenario that was in this student's head was, like, I've been here 10 hours, nothing's happening, it's winding down, I don't have anything to do, I might as well just leave, I don't need to stay the last 2 hours. You don't want to do that.
Right.
Like, even if you're bored, even if you think, well, it's pretty much over, always stay, because what could very well happen is that, you decide, all right, well, I'm just going to leave. You leave, and then, some issue happens, and the second AD is like, okay, we need all PAs right here. We need all hands on deck, and you're not there.
Exactly.
Then you look like somebody is like, okay, what a flake,
Right. Exactly.
You could very well stay for those 2 hours and nothing happens. You're just staring at a wall, But it's better to be there doing nothing than not be there when something huge happens.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's you don't have to be there. So if you don't want to be there, don't go in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the next question is from Mark in Wisconsin. How do I deal with someone on set that I feel isn't being professional? Do I let someone know or keep it quiet?
Really depends on what's going on and how. Yeah, that's really political, really hard to tell. If Beyonce or Britney Spears or somebody's on set that's high caliber and they're acting unprofessional, most people just kind of get over that and let the director deal with it. But if you're on sort of a smaller scale production and the unprofessional behavior is swearing or anything that's offending you, don't let don't let it fester inside you. I would talk to somebody, and then somebody of importance on the crew, let them know that bothers you.
I mean, you want to talk to your supervisor, whether it's the second AD or whoever hired you. When you go onto a set, like, you don't want to be bothering the stuntmen with things like this.
Right.
Like, you want to be talking to the person who brought you on, and you're instructed, hey, my name is Doug. I'm going to be, like, I'm your boss today. So, if you need anything, let me know. I would say don't tattle on people.
Here's the thing is, this is an Office Space reference, and it's a terrible Office Space reference, but I'm going to go for it. Basically, there was a scene where the boss, I can't remember the guy's name. Lumberg. He points to a sign, a banner, goes, "Is this good for the company?" And that's basically the judgment you want to use when you're on set. Is this unprofessional behavior going to harm the production? Is it affecting me? If it's affecting you, by all means, speak up. But if it's not affecting the production, if it's not slowing down things, I would sort of just let it be. But if it's serious, unprofessional, disrespectful behavior, if the morale is dropping, those are things that your supervisor should be made aware of. And then you can let them make the judgment of whether something needs to be done.
Yeah, you're not going to fire somebody. The supervisor will handle everything. Let them know, hey, this is what's going on. Don't tell him you should fire this guy, or like you need to reprimand him, or whatever. The supervisor will take care of it. Your job, you're not a supervisor. You're not anybody's boss. You're the bottom guy, and you want to advance. And if that other person isn't taking advantage of his opportunity, you can take the job that he was going to get next time.
Right. Exactly. Cool. So I think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, did you have any other closing thoughts, Tommy?
Basically, I mean, the passion for film is, it's very deep seated. It's very, it's a lot of people consider it a pipeline. Pipe dream. Can't forget that. I can't remember that term. Definitely go for it. If that's what you want, if you wake up and you dream and you breathe film, go for it. But basically, if you just tuned in and you missed, or if you missed anything, if you tuned in, this has been going on for an hour and you tuned in on 1:40. This is going to be aired on YouTube right after this. Also, if you're interested in the Film Connection and you want to reach out to one of our admissions reps, definitely give us a call. We're more than happy to explain to you our one-on-one real-world education in film, how we take our prospective students and we place them inside real film production facilities, apprenticing underneath a mentor who is an industry professional. By all means, call us. We'll explain how amazing that opportunity is.
Yeah, I mean, as a Film Connection student, we're rapidly developing our social media. We've got a lot of new, exciting things coming in the new year, including a film club, some contests, and some more interaction like this. So, keep involved with us, stay on our network, and we should have a lot of cool opportunities coming your way.
Cool. Stay the course.